Overreaction time. Waiter, more NBA news, please. Okay, so, no, but like seriously, to start the video, we have a couple of things to talk about. Uh, what's going on in San Antonio? Someone got a contract that I'm just like, right? This changes how I view the Spurs' future drastically. It's a good thing to have this person under contract, but not for that much money. I just yeah. That, and then we're going to talk about the other thing, the other elephant in the room. Because that basically just means the Spurs core is locked up for now. The other elephant in the room is a big man out in Philadelphia. We have to talk about him really quickly. Minor stuff that's going around on the NBA, stuff that I really don't remember too well, but it is stuff that is going on that we do have to acknowledge. And basically how I think, because now that free agency is pretty much done, I'm pretty much just going to be looking over and thinking, hey, I think this team is in this kind of tier, right? And this team is kind of in this kind of tier. Enough being vague, though. We're over a minute into the video. Let's talk about this really quickly. San Antonio has signed De'Aaron, Jesus Christ, De'Aaron Fox to a supermax contract. I'm gonna really quickly list off the accomplishments that De'Aaron Fox has had since getting to the NBA. One All-Star appearance, guys. That's how much it takes to make damn near $60 million in the NBA. Yup. By the way, I just want to point this out. By the way, one All-Star appearance, and I know he's a guard in the West. It's hard to make those. But one All-Star appearance. He has a worse career resume than Darius Garland, who has 2 All-Star appearances. 60 million a season, Jesus Christ. Okay, so in other news, by the way, the Spurs, if you're just wondering, they gave this guy this contract. I would just like to point this out. They've also signed like what, 4 different point guards, or signed or drafted in the last 2 years. So I guess this is their forever guard now. Chris Paul obviously went back to the Clippers. We already talked about that. The unction that is happening out in LA, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, $60 million a season. I just think this is a ludicrous amount of money for De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, like, yeah, I actually don't really know. I think Tyrese Halliburton has a more accomplished career than De'Aaron Fox. Like, and honestly, if you want to ask me which one of them is better between the two, Tyrese. I would take Tyrese. Like, obviously you pay him, right? But a max? I'm not paying this motherfucker a max. Like, I would like the flexibility to still add pieces to this team. And with all due respect, there's like 5 players in the NBA that are really worth max money, and then there's like 10 more that are like worth max money on the team that they are particularly on. De'Aaron Fox is neither of those things, in my opinion. Like, just straight up. Especially because his play style is going to lead to him being injured. I don't see it. I don't. Because in 2 to 3, 4 years, because that's how long this contract is basically, and you're trying to like negotiate Wemby's contract, and you're trying to negotiate Castle's contract, and you're maybe thinking about Carter Bryant. I don't know how he's gonna pan out, but like, these are things you do have to worry about. And you're still paying fucking De'Aaron Fox a goddamn supermax. I don't know. Like, are the Spurs right now contenders? I don't think so. Like, contenders being a team where so I can guaranteed see you win the championship for sure. Be like, yup, I believe in this. Now, last year, I did label the Indiana Pacers as a dark horse team, and I also labeled the Pelicans as a dark horse team. They really fit the mold of dark horses team. Now, obviously, one of those teams went on to go to the finals and take it to 7 fucking games. So, vastly more successful than the other team that didn't do anything and had to blow up their core. But I was contingent on the fact that the Pelicans are a serious dark horse contender. That's a lot of contradictory terms. If Zion is healthy and this team is healthy, I probably didn't talk about Brandon Ingram's health nearly as much, but it flies under the radar all the time just because Zion is the most unhealthy player of all time. And for for Brandon Ingram, they just sent his bitch ass to Canada. They packed him the fuck up. Sorry. I just cleared my throat off camera, so if it looks janky and the cut was like really bad, I don't care. So yeah, there's that, and then let's talk about Joel Embiid. So obviously his career has been derailed by injuries countless times, and Philly signed Paul George, and obviously that's not good news for the team because both of these guys are injury prone as fuck. Paul George is going to have his season delayed by another surgery that he needs to have, and more importantly than that, Joel Embiid, his knees are looking degenerative. I don't think he'll play basketball ever again. And if he does, he'll never be the level of player we even saw for him last year. Let alone the player that won the MVP the year prior. We won't see that ever again. And it's sad at some point, at some parts, but I've also accepted it and moved on. Obviously it's a lot easier for me to do because I'm not a Sixers fan and I fucking hate the Sixers. But it is kind of tragic. It is kind of tragic. I say kind of. It is tragic. It is very tragic that that's happening to him. Obviously. But I think he's even if his career stops right now, he's still a Hall of Famer. Like, he's still a Hall of Famer. Still made countless of millions of dollars. I don't feel too bad for him, but it is. I don't even know if basketball isn't really necessarily his dream. I do feel bad for him. I do also feel bad for his mental health because having injuries like this does affect you in ways that you can never imagine. It is tremendously hard to even visualize what he's going through right now, but still, I have empathy, but I don't understand it to the degree that I would take for me to sympathize with it. Okay, moving on, because that was very heavy. We're going to talk about something much lighter. Just who I think can win an NBA championship, because that's easier to talk about than what I just talked about. It was very dark and depressing. Teams that can win an NBA championship this year, obviously teams that were in the finals last year, you would think are guaranteed to even just be contenders. Obviously not the Pacers. Yeah, the Pacers are not in contender status without Halliburton. I know the team. I know the team is really good, and they are really, really a team of basketball, like San Antonio Spurs. But be honest with yourselves. Even the 2014 Spurs would not be the 2014 Spurs without the contributions of Tony Parker. And that wasn't even the world's greatest version of Tony Parker. They're not going to be contenders anymore. I'm sorry. Tyrese Halliburton is going to be out the entire year. So what? And they just lost out on Miles Turner. That was a very big piece for them going into the finals. Maybe not so much at the finals, but then there's that. As far as Giannis and the Bucks, do I think they're contenders? The East is so weak right now that perhaps they can make it to the finals, but that would be like the extent. I don't see them beating any team and winning the finals. I don't. Like, if Giannis does it. Giannis would have to be really fucking all-time great. But that also requires me to believe that Giannis will be injury-free the entire season. I don't believe that. I don't, because the seeding would suck. They'd likely have to face the Cavs earlier on, and that would just be a tough match. That alone is a tough matchup. God forbid they have to play the Cavs and Orlando in the playoffs. That would just or Detroit or New York. Like, they got to face all of those teams. No, that's just not. That's too much to expect from the Milwaukee Bucks organization. Is it too much to expect from Giannis? Probably not. Giannis is the best player in the conference, even if Joel Embiid was healthy, which he's not going to be, in my opinion. But still, I just no, I don't view them as contenders. I don't even think they're the best team in the East. I don't think they're the best. They're a top 5 team in the East. If they're top 5, they're just 5. And with everyone healthy, if everyone was healthy, they wouldn't be top 5 because we just saw, right? I don't believe in them. I don't. I'm sorry. I can't do it. It can't happen. They don't have a guy to fill the Chris Middleton role that they did when they won the championship. They have a guy to fill the Brook Lopez role that when they won the championship at Miles Turner. I think he can get similar production to what Brook Lopez was giving them, if not a little bit better on the defensive end. But like still, it's not enough. The guard play from this team is fucking terrible in my opinion. Kevin Porter Jr. and Gary Trent are not the guards you want starting, and then they still have Kuzma on this team. Like absolutely not. Do I believe in the Milwaukee Bucks? No. Okay, so let's talk about other teams in the East because that one took a lot more time off of the clock than I thought it would. The Cleveland Cavaliers are obviously the default contenders in the East, but do I think they'll be the number 1 seed in the East? Probably not. Darius Garland's going to have to bounce back from injury, which means Donovan Mitchell's going to have to play hero ball again, which I hate having that happen. But if we see some strides from Evan Mobley, who's continuing growing in the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, I think we can still see this team in contention. Obviously, Darius Garland will be back by like January. January is when January is not when I exactly expect him to be back. I expect him to be back by like November-ish. But by January, he should be healthy. Hopefully. If Darius Garland is not healthy, this team is not a contender in any way, shape, or form to me. It can't happen. At that point, the team might be looking for a trade if Darius Garland is seriously not healthy. Orlando finds itself in a contender role, in my opinion, strictly because Boston is injured. I think they can play good enough defense and have a good enough stride on the offensive end this year with the additions of Desmond Bane to actually make them a good enough offense that they can contend. Do I think they're much closer to the dark horse spot than actual contenders? Yes. But I do think that the strides and growth that we'll see from this team, especially considering they weren't really healthy last year, could label them in the contender spot. If I had to pick a team that'll finish number 1 in the East, it'd probably be Orlando. Let's talk about the Detroit Pistons. I was really hoping that they would get another guard to play alongside a Cade Cunningham this season. Malik Beasley is not coming back. All right, that's. They got that boy in HE double hockey sticks when it comes to investigations going around for gambling and stuff. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. That shit is tragic, and I also thought that they needed to go out and get a Devin Booker guy on the offensive end for the next season because they needed a shot creator, and they don't have that. I do think this team can have some growth internally, and I also think that Jaden Ivey can bounce back from the injury that he had last year. Obviously, and because that injury happened so early on in the season last year, I think he can actually come back and play very pivotal basketball for them. But seriously, look for these guys to get an actual shooting guard on the roster that's not Tim Hardaway Jr. Because the reason they lost in the first round last year is because of the guard play outside of Cade Cunningham being fucking terrible. I hope Jalen Duren has a great season this year. And I'm really rooting for these guys in Detroit, especially JB Bickerstaff. I hope this entire team has a great year. I could see them finishing as high as number 3 in the East. Maybe even number 2, to be quite honest. These guys are much more contenders than anyone else. The 3 teams that I just listed are contenders in my opinion. As far as coming out of the East, they could happen, and if they come out of the East, they can win a championship. Why haven't I talked about New York? Fuck New York. I don't believe in this team as a contender. They're not, bro. They're not. We don't have to lie to ourselves and gaslight ourselves and expect New York to win a championship. They are not going to win a fucking championship. They are not going to be in the finals. They are not going to be a team that impresses me and surprises me next year. They are still too dependent on Jalen Brunson to make everything fucking happen for this team. And they still haven't figured out that Cat and JB, which everyone told them would be fucking terrible together because offensively, it's not even good enough to warrant them to be. Their offense with these 2 guys at the helm is actually just straight up worse than if Cat is on the floor by himself or if fucking Jalen Brunson is on the floor by himself. And you're playing Cat maximum deal money, buddy. He's about to make $60 million soon. $60 million! This team isn't a contender because they don't have enough pieces to retool to do anything else. This team is locked the way it is currently, and right now, do I see them winning a championship? Fuck no! It can't happen. It won't happen. And if they make it to the finals, you should color yourself surprised. They're not going to win a championship. All right, time to talk about some Western teams because there are no other teams in the East that could even potentially make the finals. I think that the New York Knicks is a stretch in the finals. If you think there's more teams out there, cuckoo. And this is, by the way, all of this is with health provided. To every single team, I was like, with health provided, they could do this. It's an 82-game season. That shit is not going to happen, bro. Every team is not going to be healthy in the East. We see it every year. Okay, let's talk about West. Let me just go right off the bat and rip this Band-Aid off. I'm not talking about LA. They are not contenders. As long as LeBron James is on the roster, they do not have the money and the assets to retool to make this shit work. We just saw last year what happens with LeBron James, Luka, and Austin Reeves as your perimeter defenders. It is fucking awful. It is not going to result in a championship, let alone contention status. They're not contenders. And I know people are like, but didn't they finish number 3 last year? Yeah, and didn't they get finished in the first round by a team that actually knew what the fuck they were doing? They had Rudy Gobert looking like an actual big out there, and you're like, oh, but they just got DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton's soft as baby shit. That's not going to matter. It's not. I hate to break it to you. And yes, I know Luka could probably get the same production that DeAndre Ayton was giving when he had Chris Paul as his point guard. I don't care. I don't. Are they even the best team in LA? No, they weren't the best team in LA last year. If Kawhi is healthy, which is another big if, but considering I saw it last year, I can believe Kawhi might be healthy for a playoff run. I know you're saying the playoff run was only the first round. Yeah, but that team was really, really good. Really, really good without him. And when he came back, they were even better. They were really good. They were one of the only 2 teams that I was actually worried about matching up against OKC last year. And I was like, yeah, this could be a problem. Because when Kawhi came back, this team was drastically good. And they were actually going band for band with OKC. So, yeah, be worried. OKC, obviously contender. They just won the fucking championship. Any team that wins a championship and is immediately not a contender anymore is I don't know. That's an oddity of themselves. That's a massive outlier. And especially with them retaining all their assets. No, of course they're contenders. Duh. San Antonio. We led off the video with this. No. Wimmy can make them a top 5 defense when he's on the court. And still not a contender. No. They're not. They don't have the pieces yet. They just don't. I'm willing to eat my words and put them in dark horse contender. But that's it. They can't get any higher than that. Houston, are they contenders? So if Amen Thompson, and hopefully I'm thinking about the right one because the other one is in Detroit, and I also think they're about the same value of player, to be quite honest. And I know people are going to be like, but Amen has shown this stuff and Asar hasn't. They are the same fucking player. You're actually doing the Markieff Morris versus Marcus Morris. They're the same fucking player, and it doesn't matter. Anyway, like they play exactly the same. This is not Brooke Lopez and Robin Lopez, guys. I hate to break it to you. Yeah, strides from them. I expect them to be much better. Obviously, their perimeter offense will be much better. Their defense might be a little bit worse, but honestly, it can lose a few points on defense and still be really good. Ugh, ow. Because they were historically great last year on defensive end. And that was with Sengun on this team. Like, I think if the offense is just better, they'll be fine. I think I can slot them into contender status, but only because of what I saw from them last year. Only because of that and the addition of Kevin Durant, so making their perimeter offense better. And also the fact that they just got rid of fucking Dylan Brooks. That should make their offense better just by addition by subtraction. As far as the other teams out west, do I think any of them are contenders? No. You want me to tell you the Suns are contenders? Not gonna happen. Do you want me to tell you the Mavs are contenders? Not gonna happen. The Pelicans can't make me believe in that dream more than once. No. No, just it won't happen. Denver actually a contender though. They did actually retool. They got Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown back on the roster, which is a pivotal part of what their championship core. And they also got Cam Thomas for very good value too. I did talk about this earlier in one of the offseason videos that I made. I do think this is a great move. He's not going to take nearly as many shots as Michael Porter Jr., but he can take better shots than Michael Porter Jr. They're not going to ask him to be some godly shot creator. And if they do ask him to do that, just know that they're misutilizing him and that anything that I said in this video has nothing to do with that. Do I think we can see some improvement from Jamal Murray? Hopefully. If we see like even a quarter of the Jamal Murray that you were all expecting to appear in the playoffs, they can win something. And they did take the champions last year to 7 games. So with some internal improvement, yeah, they should be fine. I think they'll make a difference. They will make a difference. It'll be noticeable. Let's see how the offense runs. If the offense runs well, they did lose out on Russ. I'm not sure what Russ is doing or where he's going to go. But honestly, I think if Russ comes back to this team, this would be a really good team. I never thought I'd be saying that Russ is a positive, but the way he shot corner threes last year and his decision making wasn't as nearly as bad as it usually is. And also they limited the times that he had to make decisions like that, which is good. David Adelman proved to be a solid coach, and giving him an entire season to get all these players together and stuff, that could be good. Yeah, I think that could be good. I'm not going to say he's a great coach or anything, but it could be good. Anyone else? Hey, if I forget anyone in the comment section below, please tell me. I know no one's going to make it to this point in the video, but yeah, please do tell me. That being said, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. All of that fun YouTube-y jazzy stuff, and I'll see you in the next video for sure.